Hello viewers, in this video we will learn Heart of Darkness. Heart of Darkness is a 1899 novella written by Polish-born English novelist Joseph Conrad. Through this novella, the novelist has tried to depict the story of Charles Marlowe, who is a sailor and who took on an assignment from a Belgian trading company as a ferry boat captain in the African interior. Besides, this novel is widely regarded as a critique of European colonial rule in Africa, whilst also examining the themes of power dynamics and morality. Apart from that, through this novella, the writer has also tried to delineate the degrading mentality of colonialism, imperialism, and the circumstance of so-called advanced civilization. In this novella, although Conrad does not name the river where the narrative takes place, but at the time of writing the Congo Free State, the location of the large and economically important Congo River was a private colony of Belgium's King Leopold II, and Marlowe is given a text by Kurtz. Kurt is one of the pivotal character in this novella, who is an ivory trader working on a trading station far up the river and who had gone native and is the object of Marlowe's expedition. And central to Conrad's work is the idea that there is little difference between civilized people and savages. And Heart of Darkness, it implicitly comments on imperialism and racism. The novella's setting, it provides the frame for Marlowe's story of his obsession with the successful ivory trader named Kurtz. And Conrad had offered parallels between London, the greatest town on earth, and Africa as place of darkness. That's why, actually, through this work, the writer might have tried to portray Africa as a place of uncivilized world. That's why he is here. The title might have given as the Heart of Darkness. On the other hand, English people or the European people or the people of England is the heart of brightness, and on the other hand, the African people or the countries of Africa, it is the heart of darkness. We cannot say. I'm just assuming it. You can have your own perspective. And Charles Marlowe, who is kind of protagonist of this novel, a novella, Charles Marlowe, he tells his friends the story of how he became captain of a river steamboat for an ivory trading company. And as a child, Marlowe was fascinated by the blank spaces on maps, particularly Africa, and the image of a river on the map particularly fascinated Marlowe. And in a flashback, Marlowe makes his way to Africa, taking passage on a steamer, and he travels 30 meter maybe, but approximately it will be 50 kilometer up the river where his company station is. And work on a railway was going on at that time, and Marlowe had explored a narrow ravine and was horrified to find himself in a place full of critically ill Africans who work on the railroad and are now dying every day. Then Marlowe must wait for 10 days in the company's devastated outer station. Uh, with the passage of time, Marlowe had met the company's chief accountant, who told him of Mr. Kurtz. And Mr. Kurtz was in charge of a very important trading post, and he is described as a respected first class agent. And the accountant also predicts that Kurtz will go far. Moreover, Marlowe had departed with 60 men to travel to the central station where the steamboat was based that he would command. And at the station, he learned that his steamboat had been wrecked in an accident, and the general manager informed Marlowe that he could not wait for Marlowe to arrive and told him of a rumor that Kurtz was ill. Then Marlowe fishes his boat out of the river and spends months repairing it. and it was delayed by the lack of tools and replacement parts. Then Marlowe is frustrated by the time it takes to perform the repairs. Then he learns also that Kurt is resented, not admired by the manager of that area. And once underway, the journey to Kurt station takes 2 months. Then the journey pauses for the night about 8 miles, 13 kilometer below the inner station. And in the morning, the boat is enveloped by a thick fog. Then the steamboat is later attacked by a barrage of arrows, and the helmsman was killed. Then Marlowe sounded the steam whistle repeatedly, frightening the attackers away. Consequently, after landing at Kurt station, a man boarded the steamboat. He was a Russian wanderer who strayed into Kurt's camp. Then Marlowe learned that the natives worship Kurds and that he has been very ill. Then the Russian tells of how Kurds opened his mind and admired Kurds even for his power and his willingness to use it. Then Marlowe also suspected that Kurds has gone mad. Later, Marlowe also observes that the station about the station and sees a row of posts topped with several severed heads of natives. Around the corner of the house, Kurtz appeared with supporters who carry him as a ghost-like figure on a stretcher. Then the area fills with native ready for battle. But Kurtz shouted something and they retreated. And his Antares carried Kurtz to the steamer and lay him in cabin. Then the manager tells Marlowe that Kurtz has harmed the company's business in the region because his methods are unsound. Then the Russian reveals that Kurtz believes the company wants to kill him, and Marlowe confirms that hangings were discussed. After midnight, Kurtz returned to shore. Then Marlowe found Kurtz crawling back to the station house. Then Marlowe threatened to harm Kurtz if he raised an alarm. But Kurtz only lamented that he did not accomplish more in life. Then the next day, they prepared to journey back down the river. Apart from that, Kurt's health worsens during the trip and the steamboat breaks down. And while stopped for repairs, Kurtz also gives Marlowe a packet of papers, including his commission report and a photograph, telling him to keep them from the manager. And when Marlowe next speaks with him, Kurtz is near death. Then Marlowe hears him weakly whisper, "The horror, the horror." And a short while later, the manager's body announces to the crew that Kurtz has died, and the next day, Marlowe pays little attention to Kurt's pilgrimage as they bury something in a muddy hole. Then, returning to Europe, Marlowe is embittered and contemptuous of the civilized world. Several callers come to retrieve the papers Kurtz entrusted to him, but Marlowe withholds them or offers papers he knows they have no interest in. Then he gives Kurtz's report to a journalist for publication if he sees fit. Then Marlowe is left with some personal letters and photograph of Kurt's fiancée. Then when Marlowe visits her, she is deep in mourning, although it has been more than a year since Kurt's death. Then she presses Marlowe for information, asking him to repeat Kurt's final words. Then Marlowe tells her that Kurt's final words was her name. Uh, so in that way, the story ends. And Heart of Darkness, this novella, it has portrayed a European civilization that is hopelessly and blindly corrupt. And the novella also depicts European society as hollow at the core. Then Marlowe also describes the white man he meets in Africa, from the general manager to Kurtz, as empty, and refers to the unnamed European city as a sepulchral city. A sepulchre is a hollow tomb. And throughout the novella, Marlowe had argued that what Europeans called civilization was superficial, a mask created by fear of the law and public shame that hid a dark heart, just as a beautiful white sepulchre hides the decaying dead inside. Then Marlowe and Heart of Darkness, in Marlowe has also said that in the African jungle, utter solitude without a policeman, the civilized man is plunged into a world without superficial restrictions, and the mad desire for power comes to dominate him. And inner strength could allow a man to push off the temptation to dominate, but civilization actually saps this inner strength by making men think it's unnecessary. Then the civilized man believes he is civilized true and true, but when a man like Kurt suddenly finds himself in the solitude of the jungle and hears the whispering of his dark impulses, then he is unable to combat them and becomes a monster. So that's it. We have learned many things. I hope it will help you. But please read the whole text, entire text, complete text. Then only things will be things will be clear for you. Otherwise, it will be not justifiable. Please read the text.